Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Hiruzen put Naruto under CRA and he had multiple wives? Naruto x Harem, Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. I'll be alright and besides, I've taken worse than this. Right now, our first priority is get to Tazuna's place so we can rest and then regroup on how to handle these three because something tells me a even fiercer battle is about to take place. Kakashi said, if you want to kill me foolish little brother, then hate me. Curse me, and live a long and unsightly life. Run away and cling to your foolish life. Ah, Sasuke yelled as he woke up. He looked around and found himself half in a room with bandages across his chest. Why do I have? Sasuke began to ask, but then flashes of his fight against that boy and the attack he suffered rushed back in his mind. Oh yeah, that. Sasuke said as he rubbed his forehead with his right hand. I see you're finally awake, Sasuke. Sakura said as she, the rest of the team, Tazuna, and his beautiful daughter Tsunami entered the room. How long was I out for? Sasuke asked. Not long actually. You were able to recover from your wound faster than I expected. Sakura answered. And where are we and what happened to that kid and that Zabuza guy? Sasuke asked. This is the home of Tazuna and Zabuza was able to escape thanks to his third partner who knocked him unconscious with acupuncture needles right before I was going to kill him, and then escaped with him and the boy followed suit according to Naruto. Kakashi explained. I see. I guess we got lucky somehow. Sasuke said. You got that right. According to Naruto, that boy was on a whole other level compared to you guys. Kakashi said. We'll definitely need to do some serious training if we hope to complete this mission, right, sensei? Naruto asked. Right you are. Sasuke, do you feel ready to do some training? Kakashi asked. Whenever you're ready. Sasuke replied with a smirk. Matt, wait. You guys just got here, shouldn't you be resting before training? Tsunami asked. Listen and listen well, Tsunami-chan. The man that is after your father's life is Momoichi Zabuza, the devil of Kurikagure and a missing nin. He will stop at nothing to kill him and his family, which includes you, and trust me when I say that he is more than capable of doing so. In fact, they said that when he was just a child, he committed a horrible crime. Back then, the mist was known as the Bloody Mist and thus they had students fight each other to the death to determine if they graduated or not. Yet he, who was not even a student, came in and slaughtered every student, and in fact, it was because of him that the mist banned such graduation tests. Kakashi explained. Whoa, was all Sasuke could say as they were in shock from hearing that. And with the fact that he has two other partners, one who is much faster than my students and is strong, and the other whose abilities are unknown, this makes this mission much more dangerous and why it is urgent for us to train immediately. Kakashi said sternly. Then what are waiting, Kakashi-sensei? Let's get this training started. Naruto said with a smirk. Alright Team 7, follow me to the forest. Kakashi said and he along with his team walked out of the room. Not too far from where Kakashi and Zabuza fought, Zabuza's accomplices had laid Zabuza's body on the clearing. Man, Zabuza-san sure got his kicked. The dark blue-haired boy snickered. Do not speak like that of Zabuza-san. The girl said, reprimanded her partner. It then got an equipment pouch and pulled out a small scissor, and was about to cut Zabuza's mouth cloth when the latter caught the arm of the hunter nin. That's alright, Haku. I'll do it myself. Zabuza said as he ripped his mouth cloth opened. Oh, and the great Zabuza has returned from the dead. The blue-haired boy exclaimed. Shut it, Shinji, and you're way too rough with those needles, Haku. Zabuza said as he reprimanded both kids. You shouldn't pull it out like that or else you'll really die. Haku said. How long are both of you are going to wear those stupid masks? Zabuza growled, and both kids chuckled before taking them out. Shinji had hazel eyes and looked about 16 while Haku was a beautiful girl with brown eyes. What's wrong with them? Besides, it reminded us of the good old days. Shinji grinned. If I hadn't saved you, then you would have definitely gotten killed. Haku explained. Yeah, but did you have to hit me in the neck? You could have aimed somewhere else. Oh, well, I guess you're annoying as ever. Zabuza said to Haku. I guess you're right, but I did that so that way I wouldn't scar you. You shouldn't be able to move for a week though. Haku replied with a smile. No worries, you basically helped me escape from death. Zabuza said. Are we going to fight them again? Shinji asked with a grin. Of course we are, and this time, I will kill Kakashi. Zabuza said. Now, have any of you learned tree climbing yet? Kakashi asked. Tree climbing? Sasuke asked. It's the exercise where you climb a tree with your feet using chakra as support, right sensei? Sakura asked. Right, you are Sakura-chan. Kakashi replied. Oh, that. I already learned that. Sasuke said. Me too. Naruto said nonchalantly. Me three. Sakura said. Oh really? Why don't you guys then show me how it's done? Kakashi asked as he did not believe them. The trio shrugged and then each took a tree and ran all the way to the top in matter of seconds. Done. The trio all said. Good. Now we can get to the juicy stuff. Kakashi said. What juicy stuff? Naruto asked. The reason why I had asked you about tree climbing is because that exercise is a great way to learn chakra control. You see, chakra is an energy that comes from the mixture of physical stamina and strength and spiritual energy. While it is mostly used via jutsus, it can also be used to create specializations. Kakashi said. Specializations? The trio asked simultaneously. The key to becoming a great shinobi is to specialize your jutsus. Whether you are primarily a taijutsu, ninjutsu or genjutsu type, what separates the weak from the strong is how they specialize in those types of jutsus. Specialization takes a lot of practice, but once mastered, it becomes a useful tool for all shinobis. For example, this is my specialization. Kakashi said and then began to harness his electric chakra around his arms and legs. Raiko Ukami, Lightning Wolf, Kakashi said, and then the electric chakra turned into silver greaves and gauntlets that had electric sparks around them. Amazing. You were able to do that with your lightning type chakra? Naruto asked. Yep. This is my specialization of my lightning chakra because it now allows me to perform lightning technique with almost no seals at all and deliver massive damage to my opponents. Kakashi said. I see. So you mean that we can take one just you, element, or fighting style and specialize around it like you did? Naruto asked. Yep, and that will tremendously help you become much stronger because it will be your unique take on a specific technique. Kakashi said with a grin. That sounds cool as hell. So, do we get started now? Sasuke asked. Yep. Just don't forget to come back to the house and eat now. See you later. Kakashi said and then disappeared. Alright guys, it's best if we separate so we can train better, agreed. Naruto asked. Yep. Both Sasuke and Sakura said and then all three scattered around to get started on their training. Meanwhile, Zabuza was resting in a bed in a huge hut-looking house with Haku looking after him and Shinji slumped on a chair when suddenly, Geto and two samurai bodyguards named Waraji and Zori entered the place. It looks like even you have come back defeated, and I thought Mist Ninja were supposed to be the best. You couldn't even avenge your own men and you call yourself the devil of the hidden mist. Geto gloated as he walked towards Zabuza. Come on, Zabuza. No need to stay silent. Geto said as he reached his hand for Zabuza only for his hand to be gripped by Haku, who glared at him. Don't you dare touch him. Haku growled at the businessman. Why you stupid bitch. Both bodyguards growled and were about to attack her with their swords when suddenly, Shinji was right in front of them with his katana pointing at them both before they could even register it. I suggest you never call Haku-chan that word again or I will cut you to a number of pieces humanely impossible, and why don't you guys just leave us anyway? It's not like Zabuza-san wants to talk to you anyway. Shinji glared at Geto and his men. Okay. You win this time but I'm giving only one more chance. If you fail me again, then you can kiss your paycheck goodbye. Geto said as he nursed his wrist and he and his bodyguards left the room. You two didn't have to do that. Zabuza said as he had a kunai hidden underneath his covers. Yeah, but we wanted to scare the shit out of them, not kill him, and besides, it's more fun that way. Shinji grinned. Also, we can't kill him now or else we would be on the run, again. Haku said sadly. Yeah, you guys are right, Zabuza said and closed his eyes to rest some more. For several days now, the genins have been training in order to create their specializations. Naruto was practicing his wind jutsus when suddenly, Shinji and Haku walk into the clearing. Man, you sure are working hard out here. Shinji whistled as he was dressed without his dark blue coat, and with a black shirt and black pants that had dragons on them. He was with Haku, who was wearing a pink yukata instead of her usual battle attire. Who are you two? Naruto asked. My name is Sanada Shinji, and this is Haku, what about you? Shinji asked with a grin. My name is Namikaze Naruto. Anyway, what are you guys doing here? Naruto asked. What are you guys doing here? Naruto asked with a frown on his face. We were just going around, picking up herbs. Haku replied as she smiled at the boy. Herbs for Zabuza, I presume? Naruto asked with a smirk as he knew he had uncovered both their true identities, which caused the duo to grit their teeth and get into a fighting stance. However, Naruto held his hand up. Don't worry about it. I don't want to fight, in fact I just want to talk. Naruto said, surprising them. Why do you want to talk rather than fight? Shinji asked, still on his guard in case if this is a trap. Because there's no need for it. In fact, why don't we help you gather the herbs for him? Naruto said with a smile causing confusion. Why are you being so nice to us? We're your enemy. Haku asked as they were picking up the herbs for Zabuza. I have a better question to ask. Why didn't you attack me? You had the element of surprise, you easily could have killed me. Naruto asked. Well, Shinji started, but both he and Haku struggled to come up with an answer. You didn't want to cause trouble, all you wanted was to pick herbs peacefully for your friend, and even act like normal children. I can see it in your eyes that you never had a good childhood, you were forced to become shinobis early in your childhood despite your wishes. Also, I bet you and Zabuza have been on the run for a while, looking for jobs to help you out, and this one is just one of many. In reality, you just want to live peacefully, and thus why you didn't want to kill us, for the sake of being able to live in peace for just a few moments. Naruto said, tearing right into the very core of the two shinobis. Don't act like you understand us. You know nothing. At least you have friends in a village to live in. On the other hand, Haku and I had no one but ourselves until Zabuza found us on the streets. Shinji yelled angrily. Found on the streets? Naruto repeated. Yes, on the streets. In the mist, a hatred for bloodline users began to surface and then took full bloom after several battles between bloodline users and the Mist Village. My parents were bloodline users and died when I was only 5. I had to grow up in an orphanage, and as soon as they found out I was a bloodline user, they kicked me out into the streets. I had to fend for myself for a while until Zabuza found me, and this is when I met Haku. Her mother was killed by her own father and husband simply because she had a bloodline, and he even was about to kill her if it wasn't for Haku's powers. Eventually, we were found by Zabuza, who took us in even when we told him of our bloodlines. He never once hated or feared us like those stupid villagers, and that is why we owe everything to him and why you would never understand us. Shinji growled with a glare. Maybe I can't understand you perfectly, but I want to understand the both of you and why I want you to stop this foolishness and come with us. Naruto pleaded, shocking them. Come with you? Haku and Shinji both asked. Yes. The path that you are both on will only lead you to death. Even if you survive this upcoming battle, you will eventually walk into a battle that you will never walk away from, and all this without enjoying the many things in life and even realizing your dreams. Stop this before it's too late and come with us, please. Naruto once again pleaded to the two of them. We know that, but we can't. We owe Zabuza-san everything, and we can't just abandon him even if we have dreams of our own. Haku replied with a sad smile. We have to go, but the next time we meet, we will hold nothing back, for the sake of our precious person. Shinji said, and then both vanished into thin air. Naruto, who the hell were you talking to? Sasuke asked as he walked into the clearing. The two accomplices of Zabuza. They came here to pick up some herbs for him and so I talked to them. Naruto answered. Why didn't you alert any of us? Sasuke asked. Because they're not bad people and they weren't for a fight. In fact, I asked them to come with us back home. Naruto said. What the? Why for? Sasuke asked. I just don't want anyone else to this die because of Getu's greed and selfishness. Naruto replied. You're talking about that Inari's dad, right? Sasuke asked. Yeah, his dad was killed by Getu's men and caused the child to withdraw into a state of anger, but that's not the only reason why I wanted them to come with us. Naruto explained as he reminisced of the story of Taisa, Inari's hero who was humiliated and killed by Getu because the man dared to stand up against the greedy businessman. What's the reason? Sasuke asked intrigued. Because they remind me of myself when I was little. Naruto said and then started to walk away. I see what you mean. Anyway, I was coming here to ask you for some help. Sasuke said. Help with what? Naruto asked. Later tonight, Naruto and Sasuke arrived at Tazuna's house, all dirty and tired. Oh, so you guys are back, but man, you guys look super dirty. Tazuna laughed as he saw the boys enter. Sorry, but we have a knack for overtraining. Sasuke said and both boys grinned. All right, Naruto, Sasuke, starting tomorrow, you will be protecting Tazuna at the bridge as well. Kakashi said, which made both boys happy. They then sat on the table and started to eat. By the way, have you been progressing on your training? Kakashi asked. Yep. Both boys replied but then were startled when Inari smacked the table with both hands. Why do you bother to try so hard? It doesn't matter how strong you are, you're still no match for Getu's men. You act all cool, and you talk all tough, but big strong guys like that are always too much for people weaker than they are. They'll destroy you, Inari says, shocking everyone. Unfortunately, we're not like you and we will win. Naruto said, starting to glare at the young boy. No you won't, and you saying that ticks me off. You go running your mouth when you don't know a thing. This isn't your town. What the hell do you know about me? I'm different from you, you're always clowning around and acting so cheerful, you don't know how hard life can be. Inari yelled out with tears coming out of his eyes. Ah, is this the part where I'm supposed to cry and sympathize for you? Sorry, but I didn't get the memo. Naruto said. You're nothing but a heartless jerk. Inari yelled. And you're nothing but a little selfish, emo kid who thinks he's had it tough. So what? Your dad died. Guess what, kid? People do die, that is a fact, and no amount of crying is going to change that. Seriously, I don't know how your mother deals with a selfish brat who all he does all day is cry and get mad at people. If I was her, I would probably kill myself at how uncaring my son is about the feelings of others around him. Naruto said and then left. Inari then began to cry even more and left. He didn't have to say such things. Tsunami said. Yeah, but that's the way he is. He tells you like it is whether you like it or not. Kakashi said. But he is right. Crying never changes anything, and in fact, it makes things even worse. Sasuke said. Later, Kakashi went and talked to Inari and explained why Naruto acted this way, and in the end, Inari gained new respect for the blonde. The next day, Kakashi and Team 7 arrived at the bridge, only to gasp in shock as Tazuna's workers were lying on the ground. What happened here? Tazuna asked around. Those guys were monsters. One of the workers who were laying on the ground said. It can't be, Kakashi thought, just before a thick mist appeared to cover the bridge. They're coming, he yelled, and then an evil and familiar laugh echoed through the mist. Well, nice to see you again, Kakashi. And I see those brats are still alive. Guess you didn't kill them, Shinji. Zabuza said. I thought I did kill the black-haired one. Guess I must have gotten sloppy, but I'll make sure I get him this time. Shinji said playfully with his Oni mask back on as both he and Haku were dressed in their combat attires once more. In your dreams, Sasuke said with a smirk. Don't get too why, Sasuke. Remember, he's the one that wounded you. Kakashi said. I know, but I'm much stronger now. Sasuke replied. Haku, Shinji, you guys have fun with the Genins while Kakashi and I settle our score. Zabuza said. Sasuke, how about you and I move somewhere else for our fight? Wouldn't want to get in the way of Haku-chan. Shinji asked. Whatever. Sasuke said and both disappeared. Haku, stop this. We don't have to fight. Naruto said. Naruto-kun, you know that person? Sakura asked. Yes, I do. Her name is Haku and I met her and the other boy named Shinji in the forest yesterday. Naruto replied calmly. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but for the sake of Zabuza-san and Shinji-kun, I must fight you. Haku said and then charged Naruto with a Senbon while the blonde ready to kunai. They both met and clashed. Don't you see that all this will lead to is more death? Don't you want it to just stop? Naruto asked. I do, but abandoning a friend is worse than trash and thus I will not abandon Zabuza-san. Haku said, and then did a one-handed seal and created ice needles out of thin air and shot them at Sakura and Naruto, who dodged out of the way. Kase ha oshi no justu. Naruto said and retaliated with his wind pressure blast technique, blasting Haku back a couple of feet. Haku then got back up and went through a number of seals. Tazuna-san, leave here now. Naruto told the old man, and then a number of floating ice mirrors are created from the cold air and water and then surround Naruto, Sakura and Haku like a dome. This is my high jutsu, Maku Hyu Sho, secret technique, demonic ice mirrors. Haku said and then stepped into one of the mirrors much to the amazement of Naruto. Kase ha oshi no justu. Naruto yelled as he shot his attack at one of the mirrors but was unable to break it. Is that your jutsu specialization? Naruto asked. No, it is rather my bloodline limit. Haku said. I've heard about bloodline limit from one of my books. They are abilities passed down genetically in specific clans and thus are unique to the people of that clan only. Sakura explained. You are correct. This ability is mine and mine only, and I will use it to protect my precious people. Haku said as she then started to move from mirror to mirror and at the same time started to shoot needles at our heroes, causing them to yell in pain. Ninjutsu Tokushitsu, Ninjutsu Specialization, Sakura no Mai, Dance of the Blossoms. Sakura yelled out as suddenly, a large number of cherry blossoms surrounded her. Whatever they are, they won't save you. Haku said as she shot more needles toward Sakura, but then the petals flew in front of Sakura and blocked the needles. Sakura Shuriken. Sakura yelled and then shot shurikens in the form of petals. Those petals are dangerous. Haku thought as she dodged them and then retreated into another mirror. I had enough of this. Ninjutsu Tokushitsu. Naruto yelled and then performed the seal for the KB technique, and then two Narutos appeared but looked different from the original. The one on the right had slightly longer hair tied in ponytail and lighter blonde hair and wore a dark blue jacket instead of white with a white spiral instead of a red spiral, black shirt, gray shorts, black shoes, and no gloves. Also, he sported a colder look on his face than the real Naruto. The one on the left was a younger version of Naruto who had a cheerful look on his face and wore an orange jumpsuit with blue shoes and a red spiral on his back. The name is Shiki. The Naruto on the right said. The name is Kai. The Naruto on the left said with a grin. And we are the Naruto no Kiro, Paths of Naruto. The two clones said together. Meanwhile at Tazuna's house, the two bodyguards of Gedo had entered the house and captured Tsunami and saw Inari and were about to lunge at him when they were suddenly knocked in the back of the neck, and rendered unconscious by Naruto. Naruto. But I thought you were supposed to be with the others. Inari asked, confused but also relieved that he saved them. I'm only a clone of Naruto. On their way, Naruto decided to make a clone in order to make sure that Gedo wouldn't try anything underhanded like trying to kill you guys, and I guess he was right, the clone explained. Can you tell Naruto I'm sorry about what I said? Inari told the clone. That's for you to tell him, but I'm sure he will forgive you. Now, go and rally the villagers, it's time for you to become a hero, the clone said with a foxy smile and then poofed up. Inari nodded and smiled for the first time in a long while before heading to the other houses in order to try and rally the villagers around him. So Sakura-chan, what do you think of my specialization? Naruto asked his girlfriend with a smirk. Kawaii. Sakura squealed as she hugged and snuggled onto Kai Naruto. Nani? What do you think you're doing, Sakura-chan? Naruto asked. I just can't help it. He's just so cute and huggable. Sakura replied as she continued to hug the younger Naruto. Help me, Aniki. Kai Naruto yelled as he tried to escape the clutches of the pink-haired girl, but to no avail. Sakura-chan, I need him. You can hug him all you want after we're done. Naruto replied. Okay. Sakura said and then let go of Kai Naruto. I forgot to ask. Are they special clones? Sakura asked. Yep. Each have their own personalities, consciousness and also techniques. Naruto explained. So that's your ninjutsu specialization, huh? Well then, here's mine. Haku said as she then performed a seal and suddenly, there were a reflection of her in each and every mirror. Why am I not going to like this? Naruto asked. Begin. Haku said as she and all of her reflections began firing Senbon needles at our group. Sakura Heiki, wall of Sakura, Sakura yelled out and then all of her petals formed a large shield in order to protect them from the assault. We have to think of something quick, Naruto. Even if I can block her assault with my petals, we still need to take her out. Sakura said. I know. Just let me think of something. Naruto replied. Let me handle her. Shiki Naruto suddenly said. By yourself. Are you stupid? You'll only get skewed out there. Naruto retorted. Besides Shiki and Nikki, we all have to fight together as a team because teamwork is the key. Kai Naruto added cheerfully. I said I'll handle her, so shut the up and leave now before I kill you all. Shiki Naruto replied with a dark glare. Hi, Shiki Aniki. Kai Naruto replied trembling. Holy crap, he makes Sasuke look like a saint. Naruto thought with a sweat drop behind his head. Scary. Sakura thought. Okay, we'll leave this to you but don't mess up, got it? Naruto ordered. Yes, I heard you already, now leave me alone. Shiki Naruto said, growling the last part darkly. Okay, we're leaving already. Sakura. Genjutsu. Naruto said. Hi. Sakura replied as she nodded her head and then went through a series of seals. Sakuragen, Sakura illusion. Sakura said. Suddenly, Haku found herself pinned to a sakura tree in the middle of the forest. A genjutsu. Haku thought and then cancelled the genjutsu only to find out that everyone except Shiki had left. So they used the distraction to escape, but why only leave this guy? Haku thought. Sorry, but I'm a bit impatient when it comes to fighting, so let's get this over with, shall we? Shiki Naruto asked with a smirk. If you insist, but you've just made a big mistake. Haku said. It doesn't matter what his abilities are, he can't break through my mirrors and thus can't harm me nor my reflections. Haku thought as she unleashed her onslaught once again. You think that I can't break your mirrors, huh? How naive. My name is Shiki Naruto and this is my special ability. Shiki said with a smirk as the needles headed for him. Then in an instant, all of the mirrors were shattered and Haku fell to the ground with her mask broken. He did it. Sakura exclaimed. Wait a minute, what is he doing? Naruto asked as he saw Shiki walk toward Haku. I must say, you really are beautiful. Too bad I have to cut you to pieces. Shiki said with a dark smirk as he was near her. Shinji-kun. Haku said weakly as she tried to get up but to no avail. Die. Shiki said as he was about to finish her off when his right hand was suddenly caught by a rope of rose petals. What do you think you're doing, Ona, woman? Shiki asked Sakura. Stopping you from killing Haku-chan. Sakura said. Damn it, Shiki, she's not our enemy. Gato is. Naruto growled. Shiki said and then disappeared and reappeared in front of Sakura. You got some guts, woman. I like that. Shiki said with a smirk before cupping Sakura's chin and then kissed her fully on the lips. What the hell are you doing? Naruto asked. What does it look like? I'm kissing our woman, Shiki said as he ended the kiss, leaving a red and dazed Sakura. Our woman? Naruto exclaimed. Of course she is. You honestly don't expect me to let you have her for yourself, do you? I am another you after all. Shiki replied with a smirk. Wait, there are more of you? Sakura asked. Yep. He created a total of 5 of us but only could summon us 2 since the others are not totally functional yet. Shiki answered. 5 Narutos, Sakura began to say and then had a nosebleed and fainted. Sakura-chan, Naruto exclaimed as he saw his girlfriend faint. Shiki Aniki, do you think you'll be able to teach me how to do that? Kai Naruto asked. Of course, Otuto. Shiki replied. No, you will absolutely not. Naruto yelled. Shinji-kun, Haku thought as she looked toward the direction where Sasuke and Shinji were fighting. From the sound of it, it looks like my friends defeated your partner. Sasuke said smirking. It looks like it. So, should we wrap this up? Shinji asked as he got into his Batojutsu stance. Whatever you say, Sasuke replied. Shunchi. Shinji yelled and was behind Sasuke in a mere instant with his sword drawn. He then swung his katana but to his shock, Sasuke blocked it with what seemed like a dark reddish gauntlet on his right arm. Flame. Sasuke yelled as his gauntlet suddenly emitted fire and knocked Shinji back about 5 meters. What is that? And how did you keep up with me? Shinji asked. This is my ninjutsu specialization called Ryukan, Dragon Flame, and it allows me to use fire techniques without the use of seals, much like my sensei's Raiko Ukami. And as for how I was able to keep up with you, it was all thanks to my Sharingan. Sasuke said. Sharingan. Shinji said. Yep. It's a Kekai Genkai that allows me to copy techniques and see through techniques, meaning that no matter what jutsu you perform, I can see through it and even copy it. My Sharingan allowed me to see through your technique and find out how it worked, and it basically works like this. Your Shunchi is actually a combination of Shunshin no Jutsu and fast footwork. By using this two in conjunction, you are actually creating an even faster version of Shunshin no Jutsu, and thus why people cannot even register when you move. Usually when someone uses a high-speed movement technique, the opponent can see them disappear but can't track them because they move so fast. However, your technique is so fast that the opponent can't even register when you move, and thus allows you to sneak up on them for the kill much easier. And also, my Sharingan allows great clarity of perception, which allows me to track down your every move, and with the added training I got, my body is able to keep up with it. Sasuke explained. I see. So you also possess a Kekai Genkai as well, and yours sounds very interesting. Shinji said. What? Do you also have a Kekai Genkai? If you do, then what the heck are you doing holding it back? This is a fight, you know. Sasuke growled angrily. You're right, I should stop playing around, but it's just that I have a playful nature. Also, my Kekai Genkai is not as interesting as yours, but I would say it's even more deadlier than yours. It is called Tukai, sword release, and it goes like this. Shinji said as he then put his left hand on his katana, and it then transforms into a katana with a small ring near the cross guard and an orange hilt. Benihiko, crimson flying locusts. Shinji yelled out and then uses his shunchi to reappear in the air and then moves the blade around him in a circle, and then a trail appears from the swordsman's path, which then turns into sword, which then rained down on Sasuke, who moved out of the way. The rain of swords destroyed a large part of the bridge. Tensho, Heaven Spear. Shinji yelled as he once again put his hand on his blade, which then glowed white and extended toward Sasuke at high speed. Sasuke dodged it and then reappeared behind Shinji and then tried to punch him, but then Shinji spun around and blocked it with a red longsword. He then grinned as he crossed his red longsword with a blue longsword in the shape of an X, and then they glowed with chakra as Shinji was then able to knock Sasuke to the ground by emitting a wave of chakra from his blades. Kirigasho, Mist Fang Slice. Shinji yelled out as his sword turned into a silver katana with a chain in the back of the hilt, and he then swung it and shot a concentrated blast of chakra in the form of a crescent moon. Sasuke barely dodged the attack as the attack cut through the bridge. I have to finish him now or else he'll destroy this entire bridge. Sasuke thought. My Tukai allows me to basically transform a sword into another type of sword that I wish, and not just that, but I can also change any non-living thing into a sword, basically allowing us to create an infinite amount of swords. However, this is not all I can do. Kenjutsu specialization. Hiramekatoryu, flash sword style. Shinji said as he then began to use shunchi all over the place, appearing and attack in multiple spots, causing Sasuke to just stand and block. Even if you can track me, you can't keep up with my Kekai Genkei's unpredictability. Shinji laughed as he continued his onslaught. You're really starting to piss me off. Kan Tatsumaki, Flame Twister. Sasuke yelled as he then emitted a huge amount of fire from his gauntlets and greaves that took the form of a large hurricane that engulfed Shinji. However, Shinji was able to use his shunchi to get out of the twister in midair with only partial burns. Just where I wanted you. Sasuke said. Nani? Shinji gasped as he realized he was tricked. Shishi Renden. Sasuke said and drove his left hand to Shinji's face, sending him toward the ground, then followed by his right hand to the boy's stomach, and then Sasuke brought his right leg over and struck Shinji in the stomach, knocking him to the ground hard, and making him cough blood. So, how did you like Shishi Renden, lion combo? Sasuke asked with a smirk. I won't lose. Shinji growled as he struggled to get back up. Give up. You can't win. Sasuke said. Urusei. I won't. No, I can't give up. We've come too far to give up now. Shinji said and charged toward Sasuke with his sword and swings it, but Sasuke blocks it easily. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this for Zabuza? Sasuke asked. Not just for him but for Haku-chan and also my dreams. Shinji replied. Dreams? What dreams? Sasuke asked. My dream is to back to the Mist Village and reform the 7 swordsmen of the Mist. Shinji answered. If you have dreams, then instead of throwing them away for something like this, go and strive for them. At least you have dreams, I don't, not after what he did. Huh, Shinji said as he tried to understand what the Uchiha meant. Not only did he rob me of my family, but he also robbed me of my dreams, leaving me with nothing but anger and despair. However, you still have your dreams, and this is why you need to live on so you can accomplish your sake. Besides, you don't have to worry about Haku. Naruto doesn't kill needlessly. So after this battle, go and seek your dreams instead of letting them wither or let them be destroyed by someone else. Sasuke said. Shinji-kun. Haku said as she ran up to him and hugged him upon seeing him injured. Haku-chan. Shinji said with a soft smile. I'm glad you won and I'm glad you didn't kill him, Sasuke. Naruto said as he and Sakura approached the Uchiha. The same for you guys. Sasuke said. Haku-chan, I want to live out our dreams like we always wanted to. I don't want to live on the run forever. Besides, I did promise you that I would make you Mizukage. Shinji said. Me too, Shinji-kun. Haku said and nodded her head. Zabuza-sama. Haku yelled. Is that Haku? Why is she calling me for? Zabuza asked. Yo, Jigenkai-sensei, late sensei. Stop the fight. Naruto said. I told you not to call me that. Kakashi yelled. Urusei. I will keep calling you that until you stop coming late, which will never happen in this century. Naruto replied, causing Kakashi to mumble in anger before continuing. I want you two to stop fighting now. Naruto said, surprising both Junins. Have you gone mad, Naruto? He is our enemy. Kakashi barked back to the blonde. No, he's not. Getu is. Naruto replied sternly. Sorry kid, but I work for Getu and thus I'm your enemy as well. Zabuza said. Zabuza-san, please stop fighting. We don't want to do this anymore. Haku said. Haku. Zabuza said, surprised at what his adoptive daughter said. She's right. We don't want to live like this. having to put aside our pride as shinobi so we can work for greedy bastards like Getu. We want to work toward accomplishing our goals, our dreams, live a better life where we don't have to work like this and where we can truly be proud of ourselves. Shinji added. Remember, you said you wanted to go back to the mist and change it, right? Haku asked. Well, we want to change it as well, make it a better place for bloodline users and everyone. And also reform the Seven Swordsmen, the group that my parents were a part and you were a part of as well. Please, Zabuza-san, these people are not our enemy and in fact helped us realize what we have been doing is wrong, so please stop fighting. Shinji pleaded. You kids are truly incredible, you know that. Alright, we'll do it, we'll go and live out our dreams. Zabuza proclaimed. Too bad you won't live to do so, Zabuza. A voice said and everyone turned to see Getu and his whole army of men on the bridge. Getu. Zabuza growled. That's Getu. I thought he looked more intimidating. Sakura asked, suspicious. Haven't your parents ever told you about not judging things on appearances, little girl? Getu yelled at Sakura before turning back his focus on Zabuza. The plan has changed. Well, actually I was planning to do this from the beginning. Zabuza, I'm going to have you killed here, I never planned on paying you any money. Hiring a normal ninja from the village is expensive and they may betray me, so I use unique nins who are easier to take care of afterwards. I have the ninja battle each other and once they're weakened I kill them off with numbers. It doesn't cost me anything. Good plan, don't you think? The only problem in the plan was you, Zabuza. The devil of the hidden mist. What a joke, if you ask me. You're just a cute little baby devil. He said to Zabuza, causing the ex-mist nin to glare at him. That's enough, kill them. Getu ordered. Ha, 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 ha. Zabuza laughed, startling Getu and his men. Kill me. You must have lost your mind, Getu. There's no way you can kill me, the devil of Kirikagure. Zabuza roared and then ran toward Getu and his men and started to slash through them despite getting stabbed by some of them. Getu then tried to run away but Zabuza then stabbed him in the midsection and then brought his sword up, cleaving Getu in two vertically. Why you killed our meal ticket. Now you're going to die and we'll pillage the village and take anything of value. Let's go. The rest of the thugs yelled and were about to kill Zabuza and the others when an arrow hit the bridge in between them and the thugs. All the shinobi turned to see Inari leading a large group of villagers armed with crossbows, spears, axes, swords, and other simple weapons. If you come any further onto this island, the citizens of this country will stop you with everything we've got. Inari yelled. The rest of the thugs left on the boat, afraid of the villagers' wrath. I'm okay, Zabuza said to his two apprentices before falling down to the ground. Don't say that and then fall to the ground, Baka. Haku yelled. Well then, I would say our mission is finished. Kakashi to his team and they nodded. 2 weeks had passed and Team 7 and Team Mist were at the bridge once more as they said their last goodbye to each other and wave. So, are you guys going back to Mist? Sakura asked. Yeah, it will be difficult but I think we'll manage. Zabuza answered and ruffled the hairs of both his adoptive children. Thanks to you our country was saved, but it will be awfully dull around here without you energetic youngsters, Tazuna said to Team 7. Hey, don't worry old man, we'll be back someday, Naruto said with a foxy grin. By the way Naruto, I want to thank you and also sorry for what I said. If it wasn't for you, I don't think I would ever had the courage to do what I did. Inari said, thanking Naruto. You always had courage, Inari, you just needed to stop crying and believe in yourself. I also believe you will grow stronger, and by the way, apology accepted. Naruto smiled. Hi, Ni-san, Inari exclaimed with a grin and hugged the older shinobi. As the shinobi parties went their own ways, Tazuna looked at Naruto upon the distance, grinned and said, that boy touched Inari's heart and Inari touched the hearts of all the people in our city. Naruto built the bridge that eventually carried us all to hope and courage. Speaking of bridges, we still have to officially dedicate this one, and there's only one name that will fit. Let's name it the Great Naruto Bridge. That's just what I was thinking, Tazuna said as he pulled a dedication plaque from his backpack and prepared to mount it on the bridge. It's been about a couple of weeks since Team 7 left Wave and returned to Konoha. Kakashi, Kurenai, and Asuma were all in front of the Hokage along with other Junins in the Hokage Tower for a meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to hear the nominations for the Chunin exams. The Hokage said and puffed a cloud of smoke from his pipe before continuing. I don't have to tell you this, but after a genin has completed 8 missions, they can then be nominated for the Chunin exam by their sensei. Of course, completing more missions is the norm. The Hokage said as he explained what was required for the genin's entrance to the exams. That's obvious. Besides, they're not ready yet for this exam. Iruka thought. Now, starting with Kakashi. The Hokage said and Kakashi stepped forward. I, Hitaki Kakashi, nominate Team 7, composed of Haruno Sakura, Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, and Uchiha Sasuke. All three have shown more than the required skills for this exam and I feel that they are more than ready. Kakashi said. What? Iruka thought, shocked at what he was hearing. I, Yuhi Kurenai, nominate Hinata Hyuga, Inuzuka Kiba, and Abarame Shino of my Team 8, into the Chunin exam. Kurenai said. And I, Sarutobi Asuma, will nominate my Team 10 of Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru, and Yamanaka Ino, into the Chunin exam as well. Asuma said, finishing off the nominations. All of them. Rare. Very rare. The Hokage said. Wait a second. Iruka yelled out, catching the attention of everyone. What is it, Iruka? The Hokage asked. Please Hokage-sama, let me have a word on this. I may be speaking out of line, but these 9 were students of mine at the academy. Of course, they are very talented, but it's too early for them to take an exam. They need more experience, and this is why I cannot disagree with the reasoning of the Junins, Iruka said. They don't. If we continue to shelter them like this by forcing them to take lame missions, then they will never become true shinobis and their growth will be stunted. What better way to truly test them as shinobis than by having them the Chunin exam? Besides, I was 6 years younger than Naruto when I took mine. Kakashi said. But Naruto is different from you. Iruka said. No, he is not, and stop acting like he is. He is a shinobi of this village, like myself, and thus is more than ready to take on exams like these. Besides, these exams are nothing compared to the true world of a shinobi. I will say this only once, Iruka. These kids are not long your students, they are our soldiers now, and if we feel they are ready then they are, understood? Kakashi said with a glare, shutting up Iruka. Oh boy, that was intense, but Kakashi's right. These kids are no longer students but shinobis and we cannot stop them from facing tougher challenges ahead. The Hokage thought. I will then accept the nominations of these 3 teams, and now, onto the nominations for the non-rookie teams. The Hokage said, continuing the meeting. Meanwhile, Naruto was meditating in one of the many training grounds while his clones were working on several techniques when Sasuke and Sakura walked into the clearing. Yo Naruto, Kakashi-sensei told us to meet him at the bridge, so let's go. Sasuke said to his teammate. You do realize it's quite rude to interrupt someone's meditation, Sasuke, and besides, we all know Kakashi-sensei won't be there on time to save his life, so why bother going there early? Naruto asked his teammates. I know, but today is the day we kill him if he comes late. Sasuke grinned as he cracked his knuckles while Sakura smiled evilly with her chakra scaples on. Okay, then I'm in and I get dibs on him first. Naruto grinned evilly and then they all headed toward the bridge. Okay. Who paid you? Naruto asked his sensei as they saw that he was actually early for once. What are you talking about? Nobody paid me anything. Kakashi replied, looking at his students quizzically. That's crap. There are only 2 ways someone of your persona would ever come early, and that is if someone paid you or you're being whipped, and if that's the case, What's her name? Naruto asked with a mischievous grin. I am not being whipped and no one paid me anything. Kakashi hollered with a blush on his face. Damn it, why did he have to be your son, sensei? Kakashi thought. Then it's officially the end of the world. Naruto said as he turned to look at his teammates. Ah, come on, don't you guys have any confidence in my abilities to come on time? Kakashi asked in a hopeful tone. We don't, his students replied. This caused Kakashi to go in the corner, in a depressed mood and saying things like how his students were so cold. Stop acting depressed and just tells us why you wanted to meet us. Sasuke growled in impatience. Oh yeah, Kakashi said as he recovered from his depressive stupor and then stood back up. I just wanted to tell you guys that the Chunin exams are in a few days. Kakashi revealed to his students with a smile. The Chunin exams? Sasuke and Naruto repeated. Kakashi-sensei, what are the Chunin exams? Sakura asked. The Chunin exams are held every year to determine which genins have the capacity to become Chunins. It's basically the step to the next level for you guys and I've decided to sign you guys in. Kakashi said. Really? The genins said with excited looks on their faces. Yep, all true. So, what do you think of your sensei now? Pretty cool, right? Kakashi asked as he was expecting a compliment only for his comments to have been ignored by his students who were in their thoughts. Why are they so mean to me? Kakashi cried mentally. A step to the next level, huh? I couldn't be happier. Sasuke thought as he shook in anticipation. Another obstacle for me to overcome in order to be Hokage. Naruto thought with a smirk. This is my chance to prove myself as a kunoichi. Sakura thought. Shanaru. Inner Sakura yelled, joining in. Whatever, this is all for today. Sasuke, can you stay with me for a minute? I need to talk to you about something important. Kakashi said to the Uchiha, causing him to raise his eyebrow in confusion. Hey Sakura, want to get some ramen with me? Naruto asked the girl, making her blush. Sure. Sakura replied and the two headed on. So Kakashi, what is it? Sasuke asked. It's about what you said when we first introduced ourselves. You said that you wanted to defeat your brother instead of killing him. What brought the change from killing to beating? Kakashi asked. The change happened a few months after the massacre. I was actually thinking of becoming an Avenger but then he came and changed everything. Sasuke began to say. Flashback. Sasuke, age 8, and with only a black shirt with the Uchiha sign on the back, and white shorts, was sitting near the pond by himself like he has been ever since the death of his clan. He thought about everything that happened and then his blood started to boil when the image of his brother ran through his head. He then picked up some rocks and started to throw them at the pond. Damn you, Itachi. They all admired you, I admired you. Father even loved you more than me, and yet you killed them all, and for what? To test your stupid capacity. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Sasuke roared as he continued to throw the rocks as tears started to flow from his eyes. Yar days. What did this pond ever do to you for you throw those rocks so hard at it? A voice said and when Sasuke turned around, he saw a man with a similar haircut to his but much shorter. He had on a red oriental shirt with a gold dragon on the front and back, black pants with that same dragon, and sandals. Who are you? Sasuke asked. My name is Kyo, and you must be Uchiha Sasuke, right? Kyo grinned as he introduced himself. Wait, how did you know my name? Sasuke asked, suspicious of this man. Well, I heard that the whole Uchiha clan was massacred and that Uchiha Sasuke was the only survivor and since you're sitting here all by yourself and crying and throwing rocks, it was a pretty safe bet to assume you're him. Kyo grinned. So, what are you going to do about it? Kyo asked. About what? Sasuke asked. About the massacre of your clan, that's what. Kyo answered. I am going to avenge my clan, that's what. I am going to get stronger, hate him with all my being and kill him for what he did. Sasuke said as he clenched his fists in anger. So you want to become an Avenger, huh? Well, that's not good. Kyo said and sighed. Why not? Itachi deserves to die for what he did and he left me in order to kill him, so I can become the avenger of my clan. Sasuke said. So you think becoming an avenger and killing this man will bring them back, huh? Do you really think it will make them happy? Kyo asked with a stern look on his face. What do you mean? That's what they would want. Sasuke roared. Are you sure? Is that what they would want or what Itachi wants you to do? Living by hatred, is that what they would want or Itachi would want? Kyo asked. When he saw Sasuke struggling to come up with a response, he smirked and continued, being an avenger is nothing but pure self-destruction. When one becomes an avenger, they lose their identity and purpose only in order to kill one person, but what they fail is that in trying to kill this one person, they end up destroying everyone around them, and after you do kill that person, all you are left with is emptiness and loneliness. In the end, avengers lose more than they gain, including their goals, dreams, and even their friends and lovers. Kyo explained to the young boy. How do you know all this? Sasuke asked, a bit awed by Kyo as his words started to hit him deep. Because I became an avenger myself, and as I went through life as an avenger, I realized the damage I was causing around me and inside of me and realized that it was not the way it should be, and hence why I stopped being an avenger. Kyo answered. But then what I am supposed to do? He killed my clan, he took away my family, I don't have anyone else but myself. Sasuke yelled, with tears flowing down once again. Live, that's all you have to do. Instead of trying to destroy your life in order to kill one person, live your life so you can grow strong and protect those you love and hold dear to you. Hatred is not true strength, your goals, dreams, and what's from within is what is your true strength. We define our strength by our own experiences. Itachi may have gotten his strength via hatred, but that doesn't mean you have to gain your strength through hatred. Instead, use your pain of loss to strengthen you so that way you become even stronger than your brother and never lose another precious person. Kyo said. Finding my own strength, Sasuke said, and then looked down at his hands, and then images of his parents and uncles and aunts appeared, and then he clenched his fists. You're right, I have to do this on my own, not listen to what Itachi said or do it how he did it. I will find my own strength and become strong. Sasuke said with a hint of pride. That's the spirit, Gaki. Kyo grinned and ruffled Sasuke's hair. End flashback. Kyo-san trained me for a little while before he left the village. He's the one that told me about true strength, and hence why I decided to stop becoming an avenger and just focus on becoming a strong shinobi, and if the time comes, I will defeat Itachi. Sasuke said. But why defeat him instead of killing him? Kakashi asked. Because I saw that killing him would be too good for him, and thus instead, if I just defeat him, it will torture forever knowing he is weaker than me and the clan. Sasuke smirked. I see. Oh well, that's all I wanted to do that, and I'm glad that you changed. Anyway, see you later. Kakashi said and then disappeared. Naruto and Sakura were walking around when suddenly, Naruto stopped and sighed before turning around. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? Sakura asked as she was wondering why her boyfriend was sighing for. Konohamaru, you are not going to fool me with that disguise, a rock doesn't have any holes, dumbass. Naruto said he spotted the boy and his friends hiding under a box, following them. Smoke comes out and then Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon come out. Konoha's future Hokage and ninja superstar, Konohamaru. Konoha's Y Kunoichi, Moegi. Moegi said. And the one who is a master of the numbers, Udon. Udon said, finishing the trio's entrance. Sakura-chan, I present you the Beansprout Trio. Naruto said as he pointed to the trio. Stop calling us that. The three children yelled back, but to no avail as Naruto whistled as if he didn't do anything. Wow, how cute, Sakura said while Naruto rolled his eyes. Hey Ni-san, is that it? Konohamaru asked Naruto as he pointed to Sakura. Only if she wants to. Shiki, Naruto replied as he somehow was out of Naruto's body. He stroked Sakura's cheeks slowly, making the girl blush an impossible color and also making her Ooh, can you teach me that too, Shiki Aniki? Kai Naruto asked with a bundle of enthusiasm as he was also out of Naruto's body. Yeah, me too, Udon and Konohamaru asked, despite being oblivious to the fact that there were two other Narutos. Absolutely not. Naruto hollered to Kai, Udon, and Konohamaru and then turned to Shiki, and stop messing with her, and how did you two even get out of my body? Naruto asked as he was getting frustrated by them. We just did, duh. Like I said also, she is our woman, not just yours, and I can do anything I want to her. Anything, Shiki replied with a cool smirk as he put the emphasis on the word anything. So, is this how Leaf ninjas spend their day? How pathetic, said a voice that full of arrogance, and everyone turned to see a boy dressed in all black with makeup on his face and a huge wrapped thing on his face, and a girl next to him who had blonde hair and wore a tight bodysuit with a large metal thing strapped to her back head toward them. They both wore headbands, one the head for the boy and on the neck for the girl, with a different symbol. Those are foreign shinobis. Are they already here for the exams? Sakura wondered as she recalled that the Chunin exams were on. What's your name? Shiki asked as he glared the duo. Me. The boy asked. I'm talking to her. What's your name, woman? Shiki asked the girl. My name is Tamari. Tamari responded with a light blush on her face. That boy is handsome. Tamari thought and then suddenly gasped as Shiki was in front of her and put his right arm around her waist, making her blush. What the hell do you think you're doing to my sister, bastard? The boy growled angrily as he watching this stranger getting a bit too intimate with his older sister. Shut the hell up, would ya? I'm in the middle of something if you haven't realized by now, and I hate being interrupted. Shiki replied nonchalantly as he glared at the boy. Naruto-kun, shouldn't you try to stop Shiki? Sakura asked, worried. No need, and besides, this could actually help in retrieving information about foreign shinobis. Naruto replied. So, Shiki began to say and then put his lips up to Temari's left ear. How about we get to know each other better, really better, Tamari-chan? Shiki said to her in a very seductive tone. That's it. I'm so going to clobber you. The boy said as he was about to strike Shiki when suddenly, a bluish and black blur appeared in front of him and struck him with a back knuckle to the face, knocking back about 10 meters into a fence. To be able to do this to Kankuro, just who the heck are those guys? Tamari thought. I didn't need your help, Uchiha. Shiki said as he looked at the Uchiha, who looked back at him in confusion as he was seeing three Narutos. Seeing the look of confusion on his teammate's face, Naruto sighed and started to explain. These are special clones that I created as part of my ninjutsu specialization. The smaller one is named Kai, and this UAL predator and sociopath over there is Shiki. Naruto said. Thanks for the compliments, Naruto Aniki. Shiki said sarcastically. No problem, that's what family is for after all. Naruto replied with a smirk. I see, and those guys must be from a foreign village for the Chunin exams, correct? Sasuke asked. Pretty much. Okay, you two, it's time to come back now. Naruto said, glaring at the two clones angrily, causing Kai to gulp. I think we really made him mad, Aniki. Kai said nervously to his older brother. Whatever. Shiki replied nonchalantly and then turned to Tamari. Catch you later. Shiki said with a wink that made the girl blush, and then he and Kai returned to Naruto's body. I had enough. Kankuro growled as he got back up and glared at the Uchiha. Time for you to get a taste of Karasu. Kankuro yelled with a laugh. Kankuro, don't. Tamari warned her brother, but then everyone gasped as they saw a young red-haired boy appear in front of Kankuro. He had blue eyes with black rings surrounding his eyes, indicating lack of sleep. He was wearing a black slick trenchcoat with a white line going down in the middle. He also wore black pants, black shoes, and a large brown gourd strapped to his back. He looks so cute, Moegi thought as she looked at the newcomer. Gee, Gaara, Kankuro finally said as he looked upon the boy. Stand down, Kankuro, Gaara said in an indifferent tone as he was looking at Sasuke and Naruto. But Gaara, Kankuro began to protest, but then Gaara used his left hand to grab him by the throat and lift him up, surprising everyone. I won't repeat myself. Stand down. Gaara said coldly with a dark look that peered through Kankuro's soul. The latter nodded weakly and then was let falling to the ground by Gaara. That guy, he's a lot stronger than those two, that's for sure. Naruto thought as he observed what the newcomer just did and also the attitude of the other two toward him. It was an attitude of someone who feared another individual. So, who are you? Naruto asked. The name is Sabaku no Gaara and these are my siblings, Kankuro and Tamari, and we're here for the Chunin exams. Gaara replied. What about you two? What are your names? Gaara then asked. My name is Namikaze Naruto and these are my teammates, Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura. Naruto said. Are you entering the Chunin exams by any chance? Gaara asked as he stared at Naruto, trying to intimidate him. Yes, we are. Naruto replied as he stared Gaara down, not affected by his stare. Upon seeing that Naruto was unaffected by his stare, Gaara smiled and chuckled slightly. It will be a pleasure then to face you in the exams. Until then, Namikaze Naruto. Gaara said with a smirk, and then turned to his siblings. Let's go, you two. Gaara said to his siblings, and then all three started to walk away. Dude, did any of you feel that guy's chakra? Sasuke asked. I did. It was overwhelming. Sakura replied. That means he's going to be one of the top tiers in this exam. Naruto said. Man, this exam is going to be one hell of a party. Sasuke chuckled with a huge grin as if he struck the jackpot. Only you would think like that. Both of his teammates thought with a sweat drop behind their backs. Day of the Chunin exam. So, this is the place for the Chunin exam, huh? Sasuke said as he and the others arrived in front of the building. Well guys, why don't we get this party started, huh guys? Sasuke said to his teammates with a wicked grin. Just don't get too overexcited, Sasuke, or you might get your kicked and not even become a Chunin. Naruto said to his teammate. Don't even joke like that. Hell, there's no way I'm not going to become a Chunin. Sasuke replied. Is that so, Sasuke? Naruto asked with a grin. Damn right. Sasuke replied with a grin, and the two boys stared at each other fiercely. Knock it off and let's get moving, you dumbasses. Sakura yelled as he struck both boys upside their heads with her fists, leaving huge bumps on their heads. Why, yes ma'am. Both boys said weakly, and Sakura nodded with a proud smile on her face. A bowl-cut-haired boy with black eyes and wearing an all-green fighting uniform with blue shoes and bandaged hands was on the ground as two ninjas were blocking the way into the room 301. You're planning to take the Chunin exam with that? Ha! You should just quit right now. One of them smirked as he looked down at the bowl-cut-haired boy. Damn Lee, you're letting those guys kick you around like that. Sasuke whistled as he and his team arrived on the floor. Another group of kids. Like I said to this guy, it's best if you. The same guard from before began to say, only to get backhanded by Sasuke. Shut up already, you're annoying. Sasuke growled. Sakura then smirked and did a seal and unraveled the genjutsu, changing the number of the room from 301 to 201. So you knew this was a genjutsu? The other guard asked. Of course. A low-level genjutsu can never fool someone like me. Sakura said with an arrogant smirk. Not bad, kids, but that doesn't mean a thing. The one that got knocked down by Sasuke yelled and then ran toward Sasuke, intending on settling the score. Sasuke smirked and prepared to unleash a snap kick when Lee stepped in the middle and blocked both attacks with each hand. Geez Lee, you're such buzzkill. Sasuke said, sighing as he withdrew his attack. Gomen, Sasuke-kun, but I do not think it would be wise to start fighting here, and besides, you have a very nasty temper. Lee said to his training partner. Uchiha Sasuke. I'm surprised they let someone of your skill level participate. Neji said as he approached the group. Hyuga Neji. It looks your ego is still more massive than Konoha itself, you son of a bitch. Sasuke glared at the white-eyed boy. What's up with them? Sakura asked the girl, who had brown hair in buns, a light pink oriental shirt, blue pants, and blue shoes with her forehead protector on her forehead. These two are not really the best of friends, though I don't know why. It seems that as soon as they meet, it's like a fight is about to break out. The girl said, "By the way, my name is 1010 and yours is?" 1010 asked. "My name is Haruno Sakura, nice to meet you," Sakura said, and both girls smiled at each other and shook each other's hands. "I just hope for your sake that you do not fight me in this exam, Sasuke. I would hate to crush you in front of her." Neji smirked. "And I hope for your sake that you don't piss me off again during this exam, or I'll make sure to ram my foot so far up you won't be able to walk for a year. Come on guys, let's go." Sasuke barked back before telling his teammates to leave. Let's go as well, Lee, 1010. Neji said, and he started to walk, followed by 1010, who noticed Lee standing there. "Hey Lee, come on. We're gonna be late," 1010 said. "You guys go ahead, I have something to check," Lee said, and then started to walk the opposite way. Team 7 were heading for where every genin were supposed to go to for the exam when Lee suddenly jumped from the top of the stairs and landed in front of them. "Lee, what the hell are you doing? Shouldn't you be with your team?" Sasuke asked. "Yes, but there is something I need to check first. I need to see how strong you have gotten, Sasuke, and also how strong I have gotten as well," Lee asked. "Why and why now?" Sasuke asked in an annoyed tone. He didn't mind fighting Lee at all, it was just that this was a bad time. Because Neji has gotten even stronger than before and is halfway complete with creating his new fighting style. Lee replied sternly. This caused shock to appear on Sasuke's face. Despite their training, they were still weaker than Neji, and with the latter getting stronger, they probably would never be able to beat him. "I see what you mean. Sakura, how much longer do we have until the exam officially begins?" Sasuke asked Sakura. "Sasuke, we don't have time for," Sakura began to say but was interrupted by Sasuke. "Just answer me. How long?" Sasuke asked. "About 10 minutes. Sakura answered as she looked down at her watch. "That'll be perfect. We'll be done by then, so no holding back, got it?" Sasuke asked Lee, who nodded back. Both Sasuke and Lee then started to rock their bodies back and forth and then dashed toward each other. Sasuke began with a left punch to the face, but Lee grabbed it with his own left hand and then countered with a right back knuckle to the face, knocking Sasuke back about 3 meters. Lee then executed a lunging mid-kick with his right leg, but Sasuke evaded to his right and then countered with 2 quick punches to the face and then a back knuckle to the face, knocking Lee back about 5 meters. Sasuke then continued his onslaught with a punch left spin kick, but Lee was able to block the first 2 punches and then grabbed the spin kick with his right hand and then countered with a kick to Sasuke's right leg using his right leg and then followed with a roundhouse kick to the jaw with his left leg, knocking Sasuke back about 10 meters. Lee then disappeared and reappeared above Sasuke, who was laying on the ground. "Dragon Splitter," Lee yelled as he brought his right leg down to finish off Sasuke, but then Sasuke grabbed Lee's leg with his left hand and then brought his left leg up and smacked Lee in the face and then followed with a more powerful back knuckle to the stomach, knocking Lee back about 15 meters. "They're fighting so fast, it's not even a minute yet and they've landed so many attacks already," Sakura said in awe as she looked at her watch. "Not only that, but their offense and defense are impressive. They're able to attack and counter each so well," Naruto added on as he was also watching his teammate fight in awe. "I knew Sasuke was good in taijutsu, but never this good. He would definitely mop the floor with me in taijutsu," Naruto added mentally. Lee attacked with a backfist followed by a downward kick, but Sasuke was able to avoid both and tried to counter, but then Lee smirked and followed up at the last minute with a sweep, knocking Sasuke off his feet. Lee then followed by putting his left hand on the ground and performing a rising kick, striking Sasuke under the chin and knocking him in midair. "I've got you now, Konoha Senpu," Lee yelled as he then performed a midair spinning kick using his right leg, but at the last minute, Sasuke was able to disappear and reappear on the ground, about 8 meters back. He has improved his movement technique from last time. Lee thought as he landed on the ground. Man Lee, we're having way too much fun, but let's finish this, shall we? Sasuke asked with a grin as he wiped the blood off his lips. No problem, Lee said with a smile. Both fighters then dashed toward each other at high speed as they both prepared for the final blow when suddenly, a large cloud of smoke appeared between them. What's going on? Naruto asked. When the smoke cleared, there was standing a reddish turtle with a headband around its neck. This caused everyone except for Lee to have a sweat drop behind their heads. What the is this? Sasuke asked only to get his right foot stomped by the turtle, making him yell in pain, "You little shit." Sasuke gritted through his teeth as he was in pain. That's what you get for being so rude, and I came here to stop you idiots from using your strongest moves. Sasuke, you were planning on the dragon knuckle on Lee, and Lee, you were planning on using that forbidden technique on Sasuke, weren't you? The turtle asked. What forbidden technique? Sasuke asked. The Omid Renge. Lee replied. You mastered it. No way. That's awesome. Sasuke exclaimed in surprise but also joy as his friend had mastered the technique. And because of your insolence, you gave me no choice to let him handle you all. Guy, you're up, the turtle said, and then a cloud of smoke appeared on top of it. Yo, you kids are the epitome of youth. My name is Guy, Meta Guy. Guy said and then gave a thumbs and a huge smile, and light hit off his teeth, giving it a ping. Holy crap, it's a talking caterpillar. Naruto yelled as he was freaked out. I'm so scared, Naruto-kun. Sakura said, shivering as she hid behind her boyfriend. Oh me, Sasuke said as he knew the man. Now Lee, I usually would punish you right now for your disobedience, but since you are taking the exams, I will not punish you, so go out there and show them your taijutsu of hard work. Guy said and then gave his thumbs and smile again. Yes sir, Lee said and then imitated his sensei. Guy then noticed Sasuke and his team and walked up to them. Oh my god, it's walking toward us. Sakura whispered in fright. Sasuke, it's nice to see you again, and those must be members Kakashi's cell, which means Kakashi is also your sensei, right? Guy asked. Yeah, he is. Sasuke replied. How do you know Kakashi-sensei, Guy-san? Sakura asked. People call us eternal rivals. I have beaten Kakashi 51 times to 50. Guy said as he was right behind the three genins. He's fast, even faster than Kakashi. Naruto said, shocked. Still fast as hell, huh Guy? Sasuke smirked. You see, Guy-sensei is the coolest. Lee said. Now, you children don't want to be late, so go on ahead, and Sasuke, give my regards to Kakashi, would ya? Guy asked the Uchiha as he told them to get going. Sure, Sasuke replied, and Team 7 left. They enter the room where everyone was, and as soon as they did, Ino tried to glomp Sasuke, only for the latter to move out of the way to avoid her, making her fall to the ground. He then looked around and Hinata Hyuga with her team and walked up to her. Hey Hinata, I didn't know you and your team were going to take the exam. Sasuke smiled. Kurenai-sensei nominated us for the exam, Sasuke-kun. Hinata replied, blushing. It looks like everyone came to get killed. Mendokes na. Shikamaru said as he sighed while Choji was eating chips and Ino was trying to flirt with Sasuke, but to no avail as the latter ignored her. Oh my god Shikamaru, you actually moved. Naruto snickered as he saw the lazy pineapple-headed genin. I am going to kill you one of these days, you troublesome smartass. Shikamaru said as he glared at Naruto in annoyance. Now come on Shikamaru, I know you're lazy, but there's no need to lie to my face like that. Naruto said, which annoyed the Nara even more. So troublesome, Shikamaru sighed in defeat. Looks like the gang is all here, this is gonna be fun. Kiba grinned. Hopefully you won't get beat up so easily like in the academy, Kiba. Sasuke said with a smirk. What did you say? Kiba growled at Sasuke as he got up in his face and Akamaru barked. Kiba, I'm sure Sasuke-kun didn't mean that. Hinata said as she tried to calm her partner from fighting with her crush. Man, your rookies sure are noisy. A man with a white ponytail, glasses and wearing a purple suit with a white shirt underneath, purple pants, blue shoes, and black gloves said as he walked up to the rookies. This guy smells like snakes, Kit. Be on your guard when you are around him. Kyuubi told Naruto. So you must be Kyuubi. About time I heard you talk. It would be bad to be the container of a demon who is too afraid to talk. Naruto said to the Kyuubi. Look smart ass, I don't even want to speak to a vermin like you, but you're my container, which means I have no choice, since if you die, I die. So like I said, be careful with this guy and I'm out. Kyuubi growled to Naruto and then cut off communication. Victim number 512. Alright, Naruto thought and then turned his attention to Kabuto. So who the hell are you? Naruto asked bluntly. I'm Kabuto, but instead of that, look behind you. Kabuto said, and all 9 rookies did as instructed and saw 3 hidden rain shinobi glaring at them. Those guys behind you are from the hidden rain, they have short tempers. Everyone is nervous about this exam, quiet down before you cause a scene. Well, I can't blame you, you are clueless rookies. You remind me of how I used to be. Kabuto said. If you mean wearing glasses and acting all cheerful toward strangers, then no, sorry. Naruto replied. Smart ass. Kabuto thought. Anyo, Kabuto-san, is this your second time? Hinata asked in a timid tone. Nope, my 7th time, Kabuto answered as he reached for his supply pouch. Wow, you. Sasuke said. And the reason why I have taken it this many times is because this exam is held twice a year, so this is my 4th year and it is not an easy exam, kid. Kabuto said as he threw a glare at Sasuke. So you must know a lot about this exam, Kabuto-san, Sakura said. That's right, Kabuto said as he held up some strange-looking cards. Hehe, I'll share some info with you cute rookies with these nin info cards, he said with a grin. These cards are a way of holding information. All I have to do is get what I want, and imprint it onto the card with chakra. Here's a demonstration, Kabuto said. He held up a blank card before placing it on the ground and sending a burst of chakra into the card, and then a map appeared. This map shows how many people are taking the exam and the countries they represent, see. Kabuto explains. Do you have cards with info on individuals? Sasuke asked with a hint of interest. Sure. Are there some guys you're worried about? Asked Kabuto. Hyuga Neji. Sasuke simply said. No problem. Kabuto said and then went through the same routine he did for the map, and then Neji's data appeared on the card. Let's see now. He has high taijutsu skills, high speed and power, decent at everything, and has taken quite a bit of missions, mostly C ranked, and B ranked. Kabuto said as read off what was on the card. Thank you. Sasuke said as he now had info on his rival. Anyone else want to try? Kabuto asked to the rookies. I do. Gaara said as he appeared next to Naruto. I didn't even sense him. Was the thought that was running through every of the rookies' minds. And who would that be? Kabuto asked. Namikaze Naruto. Gaara answered in a mischievous tone as he nodded his head to point to Naruto and stared at him, and while it did surprise most of the rookies, it didn't surprise Team 7 considering the events that happened yesterday. Namikaze. So that kid is the son of the Yondaime. I'll have to report this to him soon. Kabuto thought in shock. While we're at it, I want some info on Sabaku no Gaara. Naruto said as he nodded his head to point at Gaara and also stared at him, as if to show that he wouldn't back down from the red-haired genin. Here it goes. Kabuto said before doing his technique again, and then 2 cards, one with Naruto's data and one with Gaara's appeared. Let's start with Naruto. Full name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto and has an incredible aptitude for ninjutsu, and has mastered many techniques already and has taken many D-ranked missions and an A-ranked mission as well. Not bad. Kabuto said as he read off Naruto's card, and now onto Gaara's. Full name is Sabaku no Gaara and comes from the Sand Village. Has incredible aptitude for ninjutsu as well, and in fact is on the same level as Naruto. Has taken 8 C-ranked missions, 1 B-ranked, 2 A-ranked, and 3 S-ranked, and has returned from all without a scratch. Kabuto said as he finished reading off Gaara's card, and everyone was shocked and in awe that there was actually a genin like them that had taken that many high-ranked missions and come out of it alive and without even a scratch. He has the same level of ninjutsu as me. Then it seems I was correct, he is top tier. Naruto thought. Thanks pal, you proved to be not so much of a loser as you look after all. Gaara said with a smirk and then walked back to his team who were in the far right corner of the room, but not before giving Naruto one last look and smirk. He returned to his team and sat down on a chair, relaxed. Leaf, sand, rain, grass, waterfall, sound, many outstanding genins from the various hidden villages are here to take the exam, Kabuto said and then added, well, Hidden Sound is a small village just created last year, so there isn't much info, but the rest of the hidden villages are filled with talented youngsters. Naruto smirked, and then decided to walk on top of a nearby table and looked at everyone, who looked back at him. Listen very well because I am only saying this once. I'm going to crush anyone who stands in my way of reaching my dreams, and that's a promise. So try and stop me, but be warned, I won't hold back. Naruto said coldly, leaking a killer intent so massive that it even froze the 3 Odo genins that were going to attack Kabuto for his remarks on the Odo village, before retreating back to his team. Namikaze Naruto, I'll definitely have fun killing you. Gaara thought in anticipation from the blonde's proclamation. He's got guts. Kabuto thought. And he accuses me of hogging all the spotlight. That guy. Sasuke mentally smirked. What were you thinking, Naruto? Ino hollered at the boy. Just felt like saying the truth to everyone. I will pass these exams and no one will stop from doing so, not even you, Yamanaka. Naruto said coldly, making the girl back away. Then, smoke appeared and then a group of Chunin examiners were staying behind a tall Chunin with scars on his face, a cap on his head tied by his headband, a black trenchcoat, gray shirt, and black pants and black gloves. Sorry for making you wait. My name is Morino Ibiki and I'm the proctor for the first part of the Chunin selection exam. Ibiki said with a grin. We will now begin the first test of the Chunin exams. I want all of you to turn in your applications, take out of these number tags and then sit to the seat the number indicates. Once you are seated, you will be given your papers that you will use for the written test. Ibiki explains. A written test. Oh me. Sasuke mumbled. Is the great Uchiha so scared of written tests? Naruto asked with a smirk. Shut up, Naruto. Sasuke growled back at his snickering teammate. After getting their tags, the genins sat down on their seats. It looks they separated us. Naruto thought as he looked around. Looks like I got to sit next to the cute blonde. Tamari thought as she was sitting next to Naruto in one of the rows. Sasuke looked around and then saw Hinata sitting 2 rows below him. Hinata then turned her head and saw Sasuke looking at him and smiled at him. This caused Sasuke to blush and turn back to his seat of paper. Do not turn your test over and listen closely to what I have to say, Ibiki instructed the genins, and then continued, there are many important rules to this first test. I'll write them on the board as I explain, but questions will not be allowed, so listen carefully. Ibiki turned his back to the genin and started writing on the board and said, the first rule, you all start with 10 points. The test has 10 questions, each worth 1 point, but this is a subtraction exam. For each wrong answer you lose a point. A perfect score on the test will let you keep all your points. Getting all the questions wrong means you get 0 points. The second rule is that this is a team test. Whether you pass or not is determined by your team's combined score. So each team starts with 30 points and sees how many you can hold from that amount. The third rule is that during this exam, anyone the proctors catch doing sneaky activity, namely cheating, will have 2 points subtracted for each offense. So there will be some who will lose all their points during the exam and be asked to leave. Those examiners, they look really sharp, they really don't want us to cheat. Naruto thought as he looked around. Realized that the idiots caught cheating are only hurting themselves. As shinobi trying to achieve the rank of Chunin, be proud ninja. And the final rule, Anyone who loses all their initial points during the test or fails to answer any questions correctly will be failed along with their 2 teammates. Now, begin, Ibiki said to the students. What the hell is this? Sasuke asked mentally as he looked at the questions on his exam. Those questions are impossible to answer for anyone except probably Sakura. On top of that, the way the rules are set up, it's just stupid. It's like they want us to cheat. That's it. They want us to cheat, but do it in an efficient way. It's almost like a recon or information retrieval mission if you think about it. When wanting to retrieve information, you have to do it in an effective way and without getting caught. If someone gets caught, then the mission fails and they die, and the same goes for us shinobis, especially when we are put in teams of 3 and more. The penalties for cheating will only apply if we cheat the wrong way and get caught. Now, if I'm correct, then this means there are a couple of people the examiners placed there who have all the answers, and it's our job to locate and copy from them without getting caught. Naruto analyzed mentally. However, he was not the only one that caught on to this, as everyone else did as well. Sasuke called out his Sharingan and started to copy the movements of one of the moles. Hinata and Neji used their Byakugan to copy as well. Shino used one of his beetles to get the answers. Kiba used Akamaru. Gaara summoned a third eye from his sand and used it to get the answers. Alright, Sakura, time to give me those answers. Shintensen no Justu, mind switch technique. Ino smirked mentally, and then performed her technique, which allowed her to teleport her mental consciousness into Sakura's in order to take control. In control of Sakura's body, Ino was able to memorize all of the answers, before returning to her own mind and writing them down and then give them to her team. Tenten used a bunch of chakra strings to maneuver the mirrors in the ceiling lights to get the answers for her and Lee. Let's see here. What can I use to cheat? I see. Kage Bushin no Jutsu. Semi-shadow clone technique. Small. Naruto thought and summoned a shadow clone that's so small that it resembled a bug. He then whispered quickly to it and the clone nodded before turning into a fly and then flying to get the answers from one of the moles. It then returned on Naruto's right shoulder, and turned back to its true form and gave the answers to Naruto. Suddenly, a kunai flew by Naruto and hit the paper of someone else. That must mean that person got caught cheating. Naruto said as he saw the person whose paper was struck by the kunai being thrown out of the room, along with his team. And as the test went on, the same happened to numerous people, cutting the numbers down. Naruto then looked at the 10th question, which had specific instructions. This question will be revealed 45 minutes after the test begins. Listen closely to the examiner before answering. I wonder why this question has its own set of instructions. Oh well, Naruto thought, but then shrugged and decided to wait as he was done. Excuse me, Kankuro of the Sand Team said. What do you want? The Chunin replied. Bathroom, Kankuro said, wincing slightly as he rubbed his legs together. The Suna Genin was soon handcuffed by a Chunin who said, we have to follow you to the bathroom, and held one end of a rope tied to the handcuffs like a leash. Whatever, said Kankuro as he walked out of the room. He, we've gotten rid of the losers, now to move on to the tougher characters. It's time to up the pressure, Ibiki thought as he gazed around the room. He then cleared his throat and said, okay, time for the 10th question. Which had the entire room's attention focused on him. Naruto's head snapped up as he heard Ibiki speak and he put his whole focus into hearing the instructions. This is it, Naruto thought. Now, there are a few new rules for this question, Ibiki said. But before he could go on, the door to the room opened and Kankuro walked back in with his Chunin escort. Hey, good timing, Gaki. Was your playing with dolls beneficial? Ibiki asked Kankuro, and the said boy seemed to freeze for a second before resuming his march to his seat, though Naruto saw him pass a piece of folded paper to his sister as he passed her seat. Just sit down, Ibiki said. After Kankuro was in his seat, Ibiki stood up and started pacing in front of the blackboard. I'll now explain the rules of desperation, Ibiki said. Meanwhile in the lounge, The three Junin teachers were seating, waiting. Man, it sure is boring without my team. Kakashi sighed. Don't worry, you'll be busy soon again. Asuma said as he let out a cloud of smoke from his cigarette. Why is that? Kakashi asked. The proctor of the first exam is none other than Morino Ibiki. Asuma grinned. Not that sadist. Kakashi sighed. Sadist. Who is he? Kurenai asked, intrigued. Oh yeah, I forgot. You're a recent Junin, so you probably don't know. Anyway, they call him a pro. Kakashi said. A pro at what? Kurenai asked. A pro at torture and interrogation. Asuma smirked as he blew another cloud of smoke. Huh, torture and interrogation, Kurenai repeated. Don't worry, it's not physical but mental torture and interrogation, so to speak, so they won't expect physical torture during his test, but they will experience some of his mental torture and interrogation skills. Kakashi explained. Do you think they'll survive? Asuma asked. They will, especially Naruto. Kakashi said. Is that boy really as good as you say he is, Kakashi? Kurenai asked. Let's just say, he takes after his old man, and if you knew his old man, you'll understand why Ibiki's tricks will never work on him. Kakashi said. Old man, Asuma and Kurenai said, confused. Back in the room, Ibiki started to describe the 10th question. First, for this 10th question, you can choose to either take it or not. Ibiki said, causing confusion around the room. Choose. What happens if we choose not to? Tamari asked. If you choose not, then your points will be reduced to 0 and you will fail, along with your teammates. Ibiki said with a glare. Then of course we'll take it. Some of the other ninjas yelled out. And now the other rule. Ibiki began to say with a smirk. Other rule. This guy is not messing around. Sakura thought. If you choose to take it and answer it incorrectly, then that person will lose the right to ever participate in the Chunin exam again. Ibiki revealed, shocking everyone. What kind of bullshit is that? There are guys here who have taken before. Kiba yelled out but then froze when Ibiki started to laugh before glaring at everyone. You guys are unlucky. This year, it's my rules, you got that? Ibiki said and then continued, but I am willing to give you guys a way out. Choose not to take the question and you can try again next year. Ibiki said. So basically, if one of the three in a team decides not to take it, the whole team fails, and if they decide to take it and fail, then the whole team fails. It's basically a life or death situation, right, Morino-san? Naruto chuckled, and then glared at the proctor, but in reality, there is no true 10th question, is there? Naruto asked the proctor. What the hell is he talking about? Everyone murmured except his teammates. What are you saying, kid? This is the 10th question. Ibiki glared at the boy. You see, the reason why I said there is no 10th question is because all this now is a way to test our decision-making skills. In fact, this whole exam was nothing but a simulation of what a Chunin has to do in order to complete their mission. First, they must gather the information they need in order to complete their mission, and they must do so without getting caught, pretty much like how we had to cheat without getting caught, because in real life, if you get caught, you're dead. Then, the second part is the decision making that the leader of a squad must make when they are faced with a decision that will affect their mission, hence this 10th question. You are basically giving us the options and it's up to us to figure out which option is correct for this situation. Naruto explained. That kid, how did he? The examiners thought as they were shocked by the kid's perception. That's Naruto-kun for ya. Sakura thought as she and Sasuke knew the blonde would pull through for them. So kid, what are you going to choose? Ibiki asked with a grin. The obvious, of course. I am going to take this so-called question no matter what it takes, because in the end, sacrifices have to be made, and in every mission, we have to put our lives, goals, and hopes on the line in order to succeed, and this is what I intend to, because I will become Hokage and no one will stand in my way, not you, not anyone, got that? Naruto said with a stern look on his face. The people that were going to raise their hands did not, as they were inspired by the blonde. That kid, he's incredible. He not only saw through my tactics like they were child's play but also instilled confidence in everyone here. It looks like a lot more people will go through the next round than I hoped. Ibiki smirked mentally and then cleared his throat and said, all of you that stayed have passed this exam. What that boy said is correct. When you become Chunins, you will be faced with decisions that will either save you or kill you and you will have to choose. Hopefully, all have learned that lesson and use it in the future. Ibiki said. With a loud crashing noise, a black blur shot through the window and unfurled itself in front of Ibiki. Two kunai shot into the ceiling, pulling two ends of a large banner up as a woman in a khaki trench coat skidded to a stop. All the genin were staring in shock. You guys, this is no time to be celebrating. The woman yelled. Now everyone could see that she was dressed in a fishnet bodysuit that left little to the imagination and a khaki wrap skirt around her waist. Metal shin guards covered her lower legs and her hair put Sasuke's black spikes to shame. I am the examiner for the second test. Mitarashi Anko. Now let's go. The woman yelled before she punched the air and bellowed, now follow me. Dear God, anyone but her. Naruto thought. Bad timing. Ibiki whispered, making the woman growl in embarrassment. That woman acts just like Ino. Sasuke thought, and upon saying that shuddered at the thought of the blonde. 78. Ibiki, you left 26 teams. You're getting sloppy. The test was way too easy this time. Anko said angrily. They had a great group leader, Ibiki said, his eyes flicking to Naruto for a second. Group leader, Anko said and then looked to the direction of where Ibiki was looking and saw Naruto. Her eyes then sparkled and she immediately jumped and glomped. Naruto-kun, Anko said. Nani? Sakura growled as fire began to engulf her and a scary look entered her face, scaring the other examinees. Get off me, woman, Naruto said as he tried to get the older but extremely attractive woman off him. What's the matter, Naruto-kun? Still can't handle mature woman like myself? Anko grinned. Don't you have an exam to run? Naruto asked. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh well, we'll talk later. Anko winked at the flustered Naruto and then went back to the front of the classroom. Oh well, I'll cut them at least in half in the next test. All the genin froze at this comment, but before they could say anything, Anko continued, I'll explain everything once we've changed places, follow me. She finished. All the genin followed Anko, leaving Ibiki to pick up the tests. That Naruto, he's gonna be a great ninja. Ibiki smiled mentally. Meanwhile, Anko led the remaining 78 genin to the entrance of one of the few places forbidden by people. Welcome to the stage for the second test, Practice Area 44, aka, the Forest of Death. Anko said with a wicked grin. Doesn't look like a forest of death to me, are you trying to scare us, Anko-san? Naruto said. Then, a Kwani flew toward him but he was able to dodge it before it hit him. Nice try, Anko. Naruto smirked as the older woman approached him. My, you've gotten better than before. Anko said as she put her hands around his neck. You know that I can have you arrested for UAL harassment, right? Naruto smirked at the woman. What's wrong? Do I make you uncomfortable, Naruto-kun? Anko asked in a seductive tone. Get off Naruto-kun now. Sakura yelled to the older woman, catching her attention. We got a jealous one here. Oh well, I'm sure we'll get more chances to talk, Naruto-kun. And by the way, you've become more handsome than before. I can't wait until you're legal. Anko said, winking before walking away, leaving a very red Naruto and a fuming Sakura. Who does that woman think she is? Naruto-kun is mine. Sakura growled mentally. Here's your kunai, miss. A long-haired man with a wide straw hat whose Hittite marked him as coming from hidden grass said as he handed the weapon back, which was held by his tongue. Why thank you, but you shouldn't sneak up on me like that or I might kill you. Anko laughed. I'm sorry but you did cut some of my precious hair. The man replied. This guy smells like that Kabuto guy but much more malicious, be careful around him. Kyuubi warned Naruto. Understood. Naruto mentally replied. Hey Naruto, How the hell do you know that lady? Sasuke asked as he and every straight guy wanted to know how the blonde got this smoking hot woman to be all over him. She saved me from some bullies one day and then I asked her to train me in shuriken training. For the attraction, I can blame that on my father's genes. Naruto explained and sighed. Now, before we start this exam, I want to pass something out. You must sign these agreement forms. Anko said. Why? Sasuke asked. Because there will be deaths in this one, and if you don't sign these, then it will become my responsibility. Anko grinned. As psychotic as usual, Naruto thought. I am going to explain the second test and then I will pass these papers and each team will check out at the booth over there and afterwards, you can sign the papers. Anko explained. After the teams checked in the booth, Anko started to pass the papers. I will now explain this test. It's simply put, the ultimate survival test. Anko said. Survival. Man, this Shikamaru thought as he got the papers. First, I'll explain the area in which this will take place. Around practice area 44 are exactly that number of locked gates. The Forest of Death is a perfect circle with a river flowing through it and a large tower in the center. The distance from each of the gates to the tower is about 15 kilometers. During the test in the forest, you will be asked to complete a certain task. Using your many weapons and jutsu, you will compete in a no-hold, no rules, scroll battle. Anko explained as she got out the map for the place. She then held up two scrolls, one was white and had the kanji for heaven on it while the other was black and had the kanji for earth on it. You will be fighting for these two scrolls, the heaven and earth. There are 78 people here, meaning 26 teams. Half of the teams will get the heaven scroll, and the other 13 will get the earth scroll. To pass this test, your team must make it to the tower with both scrolls. Anko further explained. So 13 teams will lose their scrolls, half of the teams will definitely lose, Sakura said. Anko chuckled and said, but there's a time limit. This test will take 5 days. 5 days? What about dinner? Choji yelled desperately. You're on your own. The forest is full of food. Just watch out for the man-eating beasts, poisonous insects, and poisonous plants. And 13 teams passing is not likely. As the days go on, the distance to the goal will become farther, and the time to rest will become shorter. And the area is crawling with enemies, you won't get much sleep. So not only will some fail by losing the scroll, but some will die from the harshness of the course. Anko answered with a grin. Now I'll talk about what will disqualify you. First, those who don't make it to the tower, with both scrolls, within the time limit. Second, those who lose a teammate or those who have a teammate killed. As a rule, there is no quitting in the middle, you will be in the forest for the full 5 days. The third and most important rule is that you must never look inside the scroll until you make it to the tower. Anko said. What happens if we do open them? Sasuke asked. The expression on Anko's face turned sadistic as she said, that will be a surprise for anyone who does. A Chunin will be asked to handle classified information. This is to test your loyalty and trustworthiness. That is it for explanations. Exchange your team's 3 forms for your scroll, then choose a gate to get ready for the start. A final word of advice, don't die. Each team split off from the main group and discussed the situation between themselves. One of the Chunin manning the scroll booth pulled a curtain up to cover the inside of the booth and said, it's time to exchange for the scrolls. Naruto glared at the Suna team as he watched them enter the booth. I see, so you can't tell which team has which scroll or who on the team is carrying the scroll. It's like I thought, in this test we will risk our lives fighting for information. Everyone here is an enemy and determined. There will be killing, he thought. The second test of the Chunin exam begins now. Anko yelled. All the gates burst open as the genin charged into the forest. A team of genin from an unknown village were running through the forest when they suddenly stopped as they spotted Team 8. So basically everyone is heading tower, right? Then setting traps would the best option for us. Kiba said and the other two nodded. They're here. Hinata said as she spotted the team with her Byakugan. Hey already, where are they, Hinata? Kiba asked with a grin. Hey, kids standing in the open like that. Do they want to be found? Oh crap, one of them has the leader said, but then before he could finish his sentence, he stopped talking and started to turn blue as if something had happened to him. Hey, why are you turning blue? The one who was standing upside down asked when he suddenly saw a leech-type creature in the back of the other's neck. What the hell is that? He asked, and then he and the others screamed as they saw leeches fall from the sky. Life Village jumping leeches will sense any life form and attack in a group. 5 minutes of ing and you'll be in the next world. As soon as you realize that, it's quite easy to set up traps. Shino explained. Alright, one down. Kiba hollered. Sounds like it started. Anko said as she overheard the screams. Meanwhile, Team 7 stopped as they heard the scream. You guys heard that? Sakura asked. That was the scream of a human. It looks like someone got trapped or beaten. Naruto said. He then looked at the bushes and grinned. I'm going to handle my number one over there. I'll be right back. Naruto said and walked over there. A few minutes later, he comes back with a Mechagear shinobi with a kunai in the back over his shoulder and then dropped him to the ground. So I guess that number one was just a ploy to draw out the enemy, huh? Sasuke said. I sensed him nearby and figured he would try to get the jump on whoever he wanted, so I made myself look like a bait. Naruto explained. Guys, I have an idea. Sakura said, and the two boys turned to her. Since teams may try to disguise themselves as us to get the drop on us in case we get separated, we should come up with a code word. Sakura suggested. Not a bad idea. Sakura, what do you have in mind? Sasuke asked. How about our goals, like what we told Kakashi-sensei, but one of us has to make sure to leave an important detail out. Naruto whispered. Why are you whispering, Naruto, unless we're being spied on, right? Sasuke said, and narrowed his eyes when Naruto nodded. Okay then, we'll do it that way. My dream is to become a medic nin and strong kunoichi. Sakura said. My goals are to defeat Itachi and revive my clan. Sasuke said. My goal is to become Hokage. Naruto said, volunteering to be the one that left out their key information. Suddenly, a huge wind blows over them, and then Naruto found himself being swept away. Naruto. Sakura and Sasuke yelled, and then they felt being swept over as well, and all of Team 7 were separated. Damn, that hurt, Sasuke said as he recovered from the wind technique. He then saw Sakura appear and took out his kunai. What's the code word? Sasuke asked. My dream is to become a medic nin and strong kunoichi. Sakura said, and Sasuke smirked, knowing it was her. Sakura. Sasuke, are you guys alright? Naruto said as he arrived. Wait a minute, Naruto, the password. Sasuke asked. Simple. My goal is to become Hokage. Naruto smirked but then dodged out of the way when Sasuke threw his kunai. What is wrong with you, Sasuke? Naruto asked. You're no Naruto, you bastard. Naruto's true goals are to become Hokage and revive his Namikaze Uzumaki clan. Naruto spotted you spying earlier and decided that one of us should not tell the complete truth about our goals, and he elected to be that person. Now, who the hell are you? Sasuke explained before getting his stance. Kukukukukuku, impressive. The fake Naruto said, before a cloud of smoke hid him from view. When the smoke dispersed, Hinata and Sasuke were facing the long-tongued grass shinobi. Now, let's have some fun, he added as he removed his straw hat. I don't mind being hit by a jutsu, but when someone hits me with a wind jutsu, that pisses me off. Naruto growled as he got back up from the attack. And now I lost Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto said as he could not find his teammates anywhere. He then started to walk when he suddenly felt something behind him, and as soon as he turned around, a huge snake swallowed. The snake laid down for a while but then was suddenly ripped to pieces from inside as a huge gust of wind blasted from his body. Now, I'm really pissed, Naruto growled as he got out of the snake. He then headed for his friends. Kankuro, Tamari. You guys go on without me, there's something I want to check out. Gaara said with a smile, and when the other two nodded, he then left in a gust of sand. You want my Earth Scroll, right? Since you guys have the Heaven Scroll. The man said before swallowing it whole, shocking the Genins. Now let's begin the battle for each other's scroll, he began to say as he reached up to his face before he pulled his skin down to reveal a yellow snake eye. With our lives on the line. He finished to say, and then Sasuke and Sakura both felt enormous killing intent, worse than when they first met Zabuza, pounding on them as their deaths shot through their minds. Sakura, is that genjutsu? Sasuke asked as he struggled to stand up while Sakura fell on all fours. No. It's not. I tried to cancel it but I couldn't. Sakura answered. Then this is just the intent to kill. His is so great that it caused us to see images of our deaths. Who is this guy? Sasuke asked as he could no longer stand and fell to the ground. It seems you two can no longer move. The grass shinobi smirked and then pulled his kunais and threw them. Move, Sasuke thought as he took out his kunai. He then stabbed himself to undo the paralysis and then quickly grabbed Sasuke and quickly headed away from the man. I see. He hurt himself in order to move again. He'll make an excellent prey. The man smiled in his head. Naruto was running at high speed through the forest in order to get to his friends when he suddenly stopped as he saw someone appear a few feet ahead of him. Gaara. Naruto said. It's nice to meet you again, Namikaze Naruto. Gaara said with a smile. What do you want? Naruto asked, as Gaara was the last person he wanted to face. I sensed your jutsu and saw that you've gotten much stronger from last time, which is good because as of right now, Naruto, I really want to kill you. Gaara said and bit his lips. Sasuke and Sakura were hidden in a tree a short distance away, both ready for an attack. Sasuke, are you alright? Sakura asked. Sasuke nodded, looking back in the direction they had come from for signs of pursuit. Sakura heard a noise and saw a giant snake near them. Sasuke. A snake. Sakura yelled out. Sasuke turned around and saw the snake and both quickly leapt out of the way. I was so distracted that I couldn't even hear it coming. Damn it, I have to get a hold of myself. Sasuke growled and then tossed a couple of shurikens at the snake. Ninpu. Sakura no Mai. Ninja art. Dance of the Blossoms. Sakura yelled out and then some of her hair turned into petals that quickly carve up the snake. Sasuke and Sakura both breathed a sigh of relief until a part of the snake's neck started to rise. Both genin watched in horror as the snake's skin split and the grass shinobi rose out of the carcass. You guys shouldn't relax for even a moment. Prey should always be trying their best to run away, in the presence of a predator, that is, said the grass shinobi and bit his lips. Two monsters have cornered our heroes in order to devour them. Next. My name is Orochimaru. Naruto was running at high speed through the forest in order to get to his friends when he suddenly stopped as he saw someone appear a few feet ahead of him. Gaara. Naruto said. It's nice to meet you again, Namikaze Naruto. Gaara said with a smile. What do you want? Naruto asked, as Gaara was the last person he wanted to face. I sensed your jutsu and saw that you've gotten much stronger from last time, which is good because as of right now, Naruto, I really want to kill you. Gaara said and bit his lips. Sasuke and Sakura were hidden in a tree a short distance away, both ready for an attack. Sasuke, are you alright? Sakura asked. Sasuke nodded, looking back in the direction they had come from for signs of pursuit. Sakura heard a noise and saw a giant snake near them. Sasuke. A snake. Sakura yelled out. Sasuke turned around and saw the snake and both quickly leapt out of the way. I was so distracted that I couldn't even hear it coming. Damn it, I have to get a hold of myself. Sasuke growled and then tossed a couple of shurikens at the snake. Ninpu. Sakura no Mai. Ninja art. Dance of the Blossoms. Sakura yelled out and then some of her hair turned into petals that quickly carve up the snake. Sasuke and Sakura both breathed a sigh of relief until a part of the snake's neck started to rise. Both genin watched in horror as the snake's skin split and the grass shinobi rose out of the carcass. You guys shouldn't relax for even a moment. Prey should always be trying their best to run away, in the presence of a predator, that is, said the grass shinobi and his lips. Namikaze Hokage. Chapter 8. My name is Orochimaru. Alert Second Test Examiner Mitarashi Anko. Tell her we got a situation here, said one of the Chunin examiners as they found 3 dead bodies near some Buddha statues. Yes. Another one with glasses replied and then left. Those 3 dead bodies, what the hell do you think may have happened? Another said, whatever it was, it's definitely going to cause some problems. The one who found the bodies replied as he scratched the back of his head. Yum, nothing is better than dango and juice. Now, once I'm done, I think I'll head back to the tower since in this program, the faster ones will be done in 24 hours. Anko said. She then threw a Senbon into the 3 and then said, Leaf Village mark complete. As the Senbons she threw over time looked like the Leaf Village's mark. Big trouble, Anko-sama. The examiner with glasses said as he arrived. What is it? Anko asked. Bodies. 3 of them and they don't look normal either. You have to come. The examiner replied. Anko nodded and before left to go to the crime scene. After examining their papers and personal items, they seem to be the Kusakagure shinobis that entered this exam and you can see, they have no faces, as if they were melted off. The one that found them explained. No mistaking it, this jutsu is his but why is he here, at the exam? Anko asked in her head. Show me the picture of these 3. Anko ordered and when the examiners did, she immediately recognized the one she saw back when she was instructing the genins. So at that time, he was already there. Anko thought. This is bad. Report this to the Hokage immediately. Anko ordered. Huh. The examiners said. Send some Anbu captains to the Forest of Death. I'm going after them right now. Anko said. Who the hell are you? What the do you want with us? Sasuke asked. My, what a potty mouth. The Kusa Nin said. Answer me. Sasuke yelled. I simply want your scroll and your life, boy. The man answered. You want our scroll, is that it? Well, you can have it then. Sasuke said, shocking Sakura. Sasuke, are you insane? If we give him the scroll then we'll never pass the exam. Sakura yelled at the Uchiha. Shut the hell up, Sakura. If we don't give it to him, he'll just kill us and then we'll never get another chance. Sasuke yelled, and then was about to give the scroll when he suddenly began to reminisce. Flashback. Why, Aniki, why did you kill everyone for? 8-year-old Sasuke asked his older brother Itachi, who was dressed in his Anbu uniform. Because I wanted to test my capacity. Itachi replied without an hint of emotion. End flashback. To test his capacity, that's why he killed them all. How can I hope to make him pay for killing them if I simply give up in the face of death? Sasuke said. What are you saying? The Kusa Nin smirked. What I'm saying is that I have a goal and that is to kick his and if it means going through you, then I will fight you. Sasuke said, and then gave the scroll to his teammate, Sakura. I want you to leave now and find Naruto and get the scrolls we need to pass. Sasuke said. No way. Let me stay and help, I'm not weak. Sakura protested. This isn't about that, it's about doing what is needed to move on. Right now, finding Naruto and getting the scrolls are more important. If you stay here, then you are more likely to die as well. Sasuke replied. What about you? I won't abandon my teammate. Sakura said, refusing to leave. Listen, this is my decision, and besides, I don't plan on dying. Now, go find Naruto and get the scrolls, please Sakura. Sasuke pleaded. Sakura gripped the scroll and nodded before leaving. So, you decided to stay in order to stall me. How noble of you. The Kusa Nin said, it looks like I will be able to test his abilities after all. The Kusa Nin said mentally. Whatever, let's just dance. Sasuke said with his Sharingan flaring in two tomos and then started to hop like Bruce Lee and then disappeared and reappeared behind the Kusa nin and threw a punch but the nin caught it and threw him. Sasuke recovered and then rushed toward the nin and threw a volley of punches to which he blocked. The Kusa nin retaliated with a roundhouse kick but Sasuke was one step ahead and knocked him in the air with his right leg and then went up and performed his Shishi Renden, but instead of using the final attack on the nin's stomach, he used it on his neck, and basically slammed him hard on the ground, breaking his neck. Or so it would seem as the Kusa nin turned into mud. Kawarini. Sasuke gasped. Then the real Kusa nin ran up behind him and punched him in the face, sending him to a tree. My, Sasuke. I hope that wasn't all you could do. The Kusa nin said as he walked toward the boy, but then an explosion occurred near his legs, causing him to stumble. What the? He must have put explosive notes when I struck him. The Kusa nin thought. Now you're mine. Uchiharu. Shoryu. Uchiha style. Rising Dragon, Sasuke said and then punches the Kusa nin extremely hard in the stomach twice. That makes the Kusa nin cough out some spit and follows by a rising punch to the chin, basically Ryu's Shin Shoryuken for USF fans, lifting both in the air. Ryu Senpuu. Sasuke yells and then delivers his version of the Konoha Senpuu, knocking the Kusa nin to a tree. He then takes out some wires and quickly pins the Kusa nin to the tree. A Sharingan triple windmill attack. The Kusa nin thought. Kaden. Ryuka no Jutsu. Fire element. Fire dragon technique, Sasuke yelled, and then shot flames that advanced through the wires and struck the nin, making him scream in agony. I did it, it's all over now. Sasuke thought as he breathed heavily. But unfortunately, he was wrong as the Kusa nin freed himself from the wires and then did a seal, and Sasuke began to scream in agony. How did he survive all this? He should be dead. Sasuke said in disbelief in his head. You're definitely worthy of the Uchiha blood, and you're definitely his brother. In fact, I might say that your eyes are keener than his. The Kusa nin said, with a part of his face melted off, oddly enough revealing a gray-skinned face. Who the hell are you? What do you want? Sasuke asked. He struggled to shrug off the paralysis technique. My name is Orochimaru, and as to what I want, it will have to wait. Orochimaru said. Then leave me alone. Sasuke roared. Oh, but of course, but before I leave, let me give you a parting gift, Sasuke-kun. Orochimaru grinned and then did a seal and his neck stretched up toward Sasuke and then bit him on the neck, making the boy yell in pain. When he finished, he retreated his neck, and a mark appeared near the bite mark. Then, Sasuke yelled in pain and stumbled on his knees. What did you to me? Sasuke asked as he was in terrible pain. Like I said, I left you a parting gift, a gift that will make you come to me, in search of power. Orochimaru explained. You if you think I'll ever come to you for power. Sasuke growled. Oh but you will, Sasuke. It's in your soul. Until next time, Sasuke-kun. Ha, 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 ha. Orochimaru said and then laughed as he melted into the ground. Sasuke then began to howl in pain and was about to fall into unconsciousness, but before he did, he heard someone say, Yar days. Kyo-senpai. Sasuke said and then fell unconscious. Sakura was running in the forest when suddenly, she stopped as she heard Sasuke's scream. Sasuke. I have to hurry and find Naruto-kun before it's too late. Sakura said and then sped up. I don't have time for this. Now move. Naruto said to the sand boy. I'm sorry but I just can't do that. You see, I came all this way just to kill you, Naruto. It would be a bad idea to leave like that without tasting your blood. Besides, what's the rush? Gaara asked. I don't have time to mess with you. I have to find my nakama. Naruto exclaimed. Nakama? Why look for your nakama? Gaara asked confused. Because they might be in danger and need my help, that's why. Naruto growled, getting irritated by this sand shinobi. Well then, If your nakama are in danger then that means they're weak, and if they're weak then they should die. Gaara smiled. What did you just say? Naruto asked angrily as he clenched his fists. Well, it is true. In this world, only the strong live and those who are weak deserve to die, it's really that simple, Naruto. Gaara said. How can you say such nonsense? What about your teammates? Don't they mean anything to you? Naruto asked, a bit unnerved by this boy. I never had any friends ever since the day I was born. These so-called teammates or siblings of mine are nothing more than mere pawns that I need for this test. Gaara replied coldly. What is wrong with you? Naruto asked. Wrong with me? I should ask what's wrong with you. You're strong and yet you want to protect those weaker than you. I just don't get it, especially when you are a Jinchuriki. Gaara said. Jinchuriki? How did you know that? Naruto asked. How? That's because I'm a Jinchuriki as well and we Jinchuriki can smell each other, hence why I want to kill you. I want to prove that I am the stronger Jinchuriki, simple as that. Gaara explained. So not only is he crazy and strong but also a container like myself. Naruto said mentally. Now come on, all this talk is boring me. I want you to fight me now, Naruto. Gaara said, and then took the cork from his gourd, and then sand started to leak from it. He's not going to let me go until I fight him. Guess I have no choice. Naruto concluded mentally. Alright, I will fight you. Naruto said, and then did his seal for the Kage Bushin and then spawned 10 clones, who all headed toward Gaara. Too easy. Suna Shuriken. Gaara smirked and then small sand spikes headed toward the clones and struck them. But then Gaara's eyes widened as he saw Naruto finishing his seals for his jutsu. Fuden. Kase ha otoshi no jutsu. Naruto yelled out and then shot his wind blast technique at Gaara, but the latter smirked and then his sand comes up in front of him and blocks Naruto's attack. What in the world? His sand just came up on its own and blocked his attack. Is that an ultimate defense? Naruto asked mentally. Is that all? Gaara asked. No. Fuden. Rokujiu Kase ha. Wind element. 64 wind waves. Naruto yelled and then did his Kase ha otoshi 64 times, unleashing 64 blasts, but Gaara's sand blocks all of them. So that sand of yours, is it an ultimate defense? Naruto asked. You can say that since it protects me from all attacks. Gaara said. No defense is invincible, I'll find a way to break it. Fuden. Shippu ha no jutsu, wind element, hurricane wave technique. Naruto yells out and unleashes a high-speed hurricane at Naruto from his right fist at Gaara. That technique. My sand won't be able to block it completely. Gaara said as he prepared to block the attack. The attack then struck Gaara and then make a huge explosion, taking out many trees. Did I get him? Naruto asked. The smoke cleared and Gaara stood, but his face was crumbling to the floor like sand for some reason and then his face looked clean again. What in the world? Naruto asked, shocked. That was pretty good, Naruto, but not good enough. Now, it's my turn. Sand spikes. Gaara said and then spiked sand rose toward Naruto who jumps back to avoid them, but then Gaara smirked and turned the spiked sand into a fist that punched Naruto right in the gut, knocking him into a tree. Eat this. Gaara said and then multiple sand fists rose from the ground and then started to punch Naruto all over his body, making him cough blood. Now, to finish this. Sabaku Q. Gaara said and then sand fists wrap around Naruto. Now, let me your blood, Naruto. Sabaku Su. Gaara began to say but then was kicked hard by someone, and sent crashing down. Naruto, unconscious now, was about to fall to the ground when he was suddenly picked up by someone wearing a black cloak. Who's there? Gaara roared as he stood back up angrily only to find himself alone. No. Where is my prey? My prey. Gaara roared. Gaara. Temari said as she and Kankuro arrived on the scene. We've got the scrolls, Gaara. We can go back to the tower. Kankuro said.